it's Lydia from Warwick Street Kitchen in Leamington Spa, back with another Brewing Badass Coffee at Home video. Today we are starting a series of brew methods and brew techniques. I'm going to show you how I brew via different methods, the recipes I use, so a good starting point for you guys, and hopefully deal with any troubleshooting that you have with those, and show you how to clean things down properly. I talked before about coffee hygiene and how important it is in terms of keeping the taste of coffee fresh and good. So I'm going to show you how easy it is just to keep your equipment clean at home, show you how to take it all apart, that kind of thing. So first up today is a Chemex. I've talked about it a lot and how much I love it. So I'm going to show you how I do that at home, the recipe that I use, giving you a starting point for that. It is important that you realise the recipes are a starting point and it's all about taste. But hopefully you'll realise the importance of recipe, because the amount of, or the weight of coffee you're introducing in the first place is going to affect contact time with water as much as grind has previously, that we discussed previously. If you've got a lot of coffee in the bottom of your brew, whatever it is, it's going to take longer for the water to get through. So hopefully you'll see the relationship, the ratio between coffee introduced, water introduced, extraction time, so on and so forth. Again, relate it back to the extraction video, relate it back to the grind video, tweak taste from there, really encouraging you guys to hopefully explore and give you the tools to start and then go forth and conquer. Here we go. Okay, so what we have here, the Chemex. This is the smaller Chemex that you can get. I think they call it a 5-cup. We've got a Chemex paper, which I'm going to show you how to fold. We've got some scales. Your home digital scales are going to be absolutely fine. These are some fancy pants scales that also double up as a timer. But again, when we talk about timing, you can use your mobile phone or whatever, and a couple of teaspoons. You're going to see what we're going to use these for shortly. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to fold the Chemex paper. Now you'll see it's got this odd little dome shape on top. So you want to be folding this over exactly in half. A nice neat line across there, and then you want to be folding the dome down over, and then you want to be folding it in half again, but where the flap of the dome is, you want that to be on the inside, and you fold it over into this beautiful cone shape, and then you can open this, you see here. So you want to keep the majority of the paper on one side, and this is going to go on the side that has the spout of the Chemex. So the layers of paper go onto the pouring spout. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to flush this with some water. We're going to completely saturate the paper. This is going to clear the paper of any impurities, any potential papery taste, and also just create a nice tight seal around the outside, because the water is going to force the paper to attach itself to the glass of the Chemex. I'm just going to go grab some water to do this with. Okay, so I have my filtered water. Now you'll see that I've got a fancy pouring spout kettle here. You can get this is a Hario one, again available off Amazon, Coffee Hit, any of those sort of websites. I have had some success with normal domestic kettles. However, ideally, something you want to be looking into eventually further down the line, if it's pour over brews you want to be doing really well, is something with a nice, precise pouring spout. Now I'm going to completely saturate the paper here. You don't need too much water to do it, but just make sure the whole thing is soaked. Let it drip through, and then we're just going to discard this. You can actually now, because you've created the seal with the water and the paper and the glass, you can actually just pour this away, turn it upside down, and the paper isn't going to fall out. Now I'm going to use 25 grams of coffee, which I have just ground. It's a medium coarse, it's a good place to start. And I'm going to pop this in here. Now, something you want to do at this point is give the coffee a little shake, just to make sure that you've got a nice even bed of coffee in the Chemex. I'm then going to do what we call tear off the scales, just so we've got a 0 showing on here. This other side is a timer. Like I said, this also doubles up as a timer for me. At this point, I want to do what's called the bloom with the coffee, where I want to saturate the coffee beans with a little bit of water, not too much. General rule of thumb that I follow when brewing a Chemex is double the amount of the coffee. Therefore, because I've introduced 25 grams of coffee, I'm going to cover the beans with 50 grams of water. I'm just going to zigzag back and forth just to make sure that all the coffee is covered and saturated. And we're going to get to 50 grams, or 49, what you're going to do. I'm just going to show you here, this starts to bubble slightly. This is the bloom, this is the saturation of the coffee. I'm also going to give this little stir at this point. This is what the teaspoons are for. Just to make sure that I'm completely soaking all of the beans and there's no little dried up clumps of coffee in there. If it's bubbling nicely, that's another little indicator for you. Your coffee's nice and fresh as well. So again, if you're using anything like, so this is the second spoon, so I'm just going to use it to scrape off any excess coffee. You don't want to lose loads there. Again, so if you're using, so I'm going to set off the timer at this point as well, because we want to let that soak for about 30 seconds. I'm going to cut it short because I forgot to press it because I was talking to you guys. So if you're buying pre-ground coffee, we talked about this in the previous video, you might not see that beautiful bubbling bloom because there's no freshness. It's just been out in the elements for too long and we've lost a lot of quality there. So I'm going to cut this off at about 25 seconds because I was chatting to you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, in a clockwise motion, just fill this up. The end goal is 350 grams of water. Now this isn't all going to fit in here. So I'm going to take it to the top. It probably is going to be about 250, I should imagine. I hope you guys can see the numbers nice and clearly. Okay, to the top. Cool. Now we're going to let this pour through. It takes a little time. You want the complete brew to take about 3 minutes-ish. Now all of this is a starting point, and then it will all vary massively depending on the coffee you're using, how strong you like it. Like I say, I start with 25 grams of coffee. You might decide you want it a bit stronger. You might want to up the ratio slightly. You might want to brew a little bit more coffee, because this brews, for me, when I do it in the morning, a small cup for me and my other half. If you want a full cup, if you want something bigger, you're going to need to up it. You might need to maybe think about getting a bigger Chemex. So once this has gone down a little bit, we can then look to go full all the way to the top. Now, like I said, we want 350 in total. So if at this point, I can get it up to 350. Ooh, 352. You start a little challenge with yourself. How accurate can you be? At this point, I give it another stir. I just scrape all around the sides, just to make sure there isn't any coffee just sort of hiding or escaping being extracted. I also just disturb the bed of coffee a little bit at the bottom. We talked about this before when we talked about extraction. We talked about time, temperature and turbulence. This is the turbulence of what the side of extraction. Just giving it a little stir just to make sure the water is getting itself all mixed in slightly. It's extracting flavour and it's contacting all the coffee and not just the bit sat on top or a bit at the bottom. And also you might get little pockets, little bubbles of coffee just sat there, not getting extracted. And then that is it really. You let that pour through, you let that go all the way to the end. By the looks at this, look like we're going to have about a 3.5 minute brew. Perfect, that's exactly what I was after. Once that's poured through, I'm going to show you how to take this apart and clean it properly. Sorry guys, got to do a bit of hygiene, because your coffee isn't going to taste great if you don't clean out your equipment properly. So at the end of each brewing video, I'm going to show you how to take the equipment apart and clean it properly. Chemex is really easy to take apart. If you've got one of the ones with a little leather strap on the front, you just undo this. I say it's easy. There we go. And you'll see that the collar, is what it's called, just comes off as well. So you can give those a little clean every now and again if you want, if you've got like residual coffee left on it. And then the Chemex itself could be rinsed out. I don't put it through the dishwasher. I use a washing up sponge and some washing up liquid and give it a proper rinse and just let it air dry. And that is it. That's a super easy thing to keep clean, so no excuses with that one. Okay, so there we go. Hopefully you can see how easy it is to brew a really good Chemex at home. Hopefully now you've got a recipe that you can start with. Next time we're going to cover a V60, another brew method that I really love and really rate. And then after that, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know how you're brewing and what you'd like to see me brew and what recommendations you'd like. Have fun with that, let me know how you get on. But yeah, start leaving comments, tell me how you brew at home and what video you'd like to see, and I'll start planning that for you. So yeah, thank you very much. Bye!